Hello and welcome to another Mordian Glory Imperial Guard video. Today is a very exciting day, ladies and gentlemen, for I have gone and picked up my Codex Astra Militarum 8th edition, and it is looking very nice. I got the battle hardened edition, which just meant I got these handy little data cards along with the codex. We'll be going through those in another video, but basically the next few videos that I'm going to be putting up, I'm just going to do literally a page by page look through the Astra Militarum Codex. It's going to be quite in depth. We'll look through the fluff sections, we'll look through and then obviously we'll look through the different rules and stuff basically and how the codex is laid out. It's just going to be a general review of the codex, and you know, if you are on the fence about collecting an Imperial Guard army, or you haven't quite got hold of the codex yourself and you're debating on whether you want to get it or not, you can use this video as a good sort of reference point, have a good idea of what's in the codex and whether it's for you or not. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it. So, I'm going to take these data cards and put them to one side for now, and we're going to look at the main codex. Just going to open my delicious can of iron brew before we get started. There we go. Gonna need all this to keep my voice, keep my throat from getting dry, I should say. Anyway, product placement over. Actually, I'm not even sponsored by Iron Brew. I just think it's the best drink in the world. So let's take a look. Now I've only had a quick look through this, so this is almost like a first look for me. So basically, good start. You've got the bit of artwork at the front. It's a relatively not old piece of artwork, it's relatively new, but it's not unique to this codex. Astra Militarum, the Imperial Guard. Very nice. So here we go. So you've got the standard, contents over here. Nothing too exciting here. The old spiel. Here you go. Every single one of these has got a nice little, every single codex has got a nice guide. It's also a nice little intro. This one, attention soldier, you hold in your hands the definitive guide to the battle-hardened regiments of the Astra Militarum. This book will help you assemble your citadel miniatures and muster them into a powerful Imperial army, replete with ranks of dogged troops, bellowing officers and mighty engines of war. There's the standard, the Astra Militarum, implacable military of the Imperium, normal humans. They stand against the hordes of the galaxy, rely on the goods, all that kind of stuff. Really nice bit of spiel, gets you in the mood for the codex. Nothing too fancy here. It's fairly standard codex layout that it's been like for the last few editions. One thing I would like to bring your attention to is this bit of artwork here, and I think this is relatively new. And one thing I have noticed is that they, in the last few guard books, the Damocles Gulf guard book and other stuff from 7th edition, they have started introducing new sort of Cadian colour schemes. It's not just the Cadian 8th. So here we've got a nice picture of some black and white camo going on there, which is, I think, very nice. So that's good. They're not just showing off the same old green and tan. I've got the same picture there from the front of the book, just the same one as that, but in colour. Of course, no guard codex would ever be complete without having pictures of dead guards in it. It's a little bit of a theme that has been in nearly every guard codex, which is we are one of the only codexes which shows our guys dead in it. If you go and look at things like the Space Marine Codex, you never see any dead Space Marines. You might see the occasional sort of injured one or one with one arm, but you very rarely see dead Space Marines. But in nearly every piece of Imperial Guard artwork you see dead guardsmen. So yeah, so there we go. So here we are into the main fluff segment. So it's pretty standard fluff here for the Imperial Guard, nothing too fancy. If you have been a long-term Imperial Guard player, there's nothing here that will catch you by surprise, but it's a nice read. It's it's well laid out. It's very good at explaining the origins of the Imperial Guard and the organisation of the Imperial Guard. So, it starts off talking about how the Imperial Guard were the Imperial Army in the Great Crusade. After the aftermath of the Horus Heresy, it changed significantly, changed to the Imperial Guard from the Imperial Army, so on and so forth. Talking about the officers and commanders, the nice little mention to the rank of War Master and sort of the connotations that come with being a War Master, which is nice. Departo Militarum, of course, the power behind the punch, one might say, of the Imperial Guard. Moving on, some lovely artwork here. I think this is a new, because I like the little quotes that you get with the Imperial Guard. I think this is a new one. Correct me if I'm wrong. I care not from which worlds my soldiers are drawn, only that they serve with unflinching loyalty. It is their duty to fight and die so that humanity may be preserved, and it is mine to see the enemy drowned in the blood of their sacrifice. So I think that's a new one, which is good. I like that. Classic one over here. What I cannot crush with words, I shall crush with the tanks of the Imperial Guard. Lord Solar Macarius. So a nice bit about recruitment over here. They've actually given a lot of a full page to recruitment in the Imperial Guard, which normally you just get like a little paragraph and in some of the other codexes. So it's quite nice. They've gone into a nice bit of detail on the recruitment for the Imperial Guard, which is nice. It gives a bit of background, a bit of story, and then obviously we're moving on to the regimental organisation. And obviously this is quite an important bit for the Guard, because it details why we have multiple regiments and why each regiment is specialised. So which is nice. Just a good, like I said, if you guys have read Imperial Guard Fluff before, nothing too surprising or new here, but it's just nice the way it's laid out, and there's nothing missing. Often things can get missed in codex transfer, and things can get retconned and moved about, but generally speaking the Guard may have changed name to the Astra Militarum, but the Games Workshop has done quite a good job at not rewriting too much of the fluff. Things seem to be where they should be, which is good. That's what we like to see. Yeah, you can see here absolutely loads. Deployment and training. This might actually be a relatively new section here. No, talking about the ever expanding circle of response. Yeah. And then talking about how they will have some modicum of fighting experience, but then they will get a lot of it in combat and intensive training during the travel. This is one of my favourite quotes here. Weep for him, for his faith was not sufficient. Rejoice for yourselves, for my faith is bottomless. Forward for the Emperor. Really, that is one of my favourite Imperial Guard quotes. Only a little section on the School of Progenium. Some Stormtrooper players may be a little disappointed on that. That is just a little, not too much there. It gets the job done, talking about how they are the sons and daughters of orphan sons and daughters of Imperial Guard officers and stuff like that, but not as much as there could have been. This is nice though. This is a nice fluff. This is a nice nod to the fans. So platoons are back, but only in the fluff. So they do mention this is the standard sort of composition for an Imperial Guard infantry company. So your company has 5 platoons. Each platoon is made up of this, and it is quite nice. It's a shame that it's not actually implemented in the codex, and this is now platoons have been moved to just a fluff department, but it is still a nice nod to have that. I mean, they say there's only one company commander, but I swear that my Mordian army has got 3 or 4 of them running around these days, and there's no platoon commanders anymore. But yeah, like I said, it's just a fluff thing now. But if you want to run your Imperial Guard platoons, this is now the official way of doing it. This is the layout for it. Not much change, to be honest, but still, it's a nice little nod. And they even give sort of official directions for a standard armoured company, which is nice because that was never really fully documented in standard 40k. It was kind of shown in the background fluff and in Forge World, but it's nice to have that fully confirmed in just normal 40k now, which is nice. They even go on squadron badges, where the numbers go. There are some more obtuse numbering systems. And yes, and then we get on to some more background, more of the auxiliary things around the Guard. So here we are, some of the sort of auxiliary departments of the Imperial Guard: the Adeptus Ministorum, the priesthood. Again, a brilliant quote here. There are those who raise their voices in anguish and sorrow for the plight of mankind. Such faithless folk wail of an end to all days, of a final damnation for us all. I say to you, these fools are wrong. Liars I name them, heretics and sayers of doom. Listen not to such heathens, my brothers, for these are glorious days. Rejoice, for all may stand and fight for a truly righteous cause, and any man, no matter how humble, can earn everlasting glory through the martyrdom in the Emperor's sight. And it's like Confessor Holduin before the Black Creek Massacre. Not entirely sure which side suffered the massacre, but it is implied that it is the Imperial Guard, of course. The Mechanicus and the Guards, Tech Priests, nice. Militarum Auxilia, sort of Ogrins and Ratlings. The Scholastica Psychana, Dirty Witches. Deployed for war. Just talking about the different levels of, essentially, of battle group. Interesting stuff there. Another nice new quote here. What does it matter that our world loses an entire generation in battle, if by not losing it our world has no more generations at all? On the mass conscriptions of Durant 3. Nice little thing on regimental organisation here. Talking about, you've got infantry regiment and armoured regiments. So we've seen company and we've seen platoon. Now we're seeing regiments, which is quite nice. Technically, each regiment has 18 commissars. Well, at least the Acadian one does. Obviously, every world is different. But these should be sort of... These should be taken as a baseline, shall we say. A baseline. And it's good... it's good getting a bit of fluff on the... a bit more background on infantry regiments. As we know, the most common form of regiment in the Imperial Guard is the infantry regiment. This is because it's relatively easy for a world to raise an infantry regiment. You just grab a lasgun, put it in a dude's hand, you do that a few thousand times, you've got an infantry regiment. Whereas it can be quite hard for some worlds to provide other sort of armoured regiments and such for the Imperial tithe. So the majority are infantry regiments, which is it's a good baseline to see if you are mad and want to try and collect an entire regiment, this is what you've got to aim for. Pardon me. Now this is a very interesting bit here. We have, I think, nearly every codex has got one of these in now. Big map of how buggered the whole of the galaxy is right now. It's a big scar. Yeah. There's some key points up here. Interesting. The one I find most interesting, of course, is number 5, which is here, next to Mordian. Number 5, demons of Tzeentch have invaded the Stygies Stygius, I believe, in the wake of the Great Rift's opening. Though the Mordians still fight, entire regiments have been lost, including the Necromundan 44 Spyhawks who were sucked into an Imperial vortex. So that implies, it's a bit of, you know, wibbly wobbly. It implies that Mordian isn't gone yet. You know, we're fighting hard and things are tough, but we're still there, we're still fighting. And if that's the case, then that's good. It's sort of, they've sort of retconned the whole Mordian's gone and everyone's screwed kind of thing, which is good for me, obviously, being a Mordian player. Acadian, yeah, this is basically a quick overview of the Acadian Regiment and how they've changed from the fall of Cadia. So it used to say in the old codexes, the birth and recruitment rates on Cadia are synonymous, and now it says were synonymous. Ouch. Yeah, Acadia's gone. Some nice alternative colour schemes for your Acadians there to give you some ideas. Some more standard ones down here. Catachans, of course. Apparently Catachans have done a very good job of of killing off the Chaos Taint on their planet, and didn't really have a problem with it. So there you go. One of the few places where Chaos actually just never even got a chance to get a foothold was Catachan. Pretty interesting, you know, other ideas for colour schemes. There you go. I like that sort of, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, that sort of reminds me of an American Army style cap. Bit different. Yeah, let's take a look at the Armageddon and Vestroians now.